Economic growth with corruption scandals, infrastructure projects and lavish dinners, the tantrums and the parties with the press. All this will go down in history as part of the Arroyo legacy as she ends her presidency. We talk to the reporters accused of being unfair to a hard-working president and find out if they fail to heed her words. Look around you. I'm Cheche Lazaro. Please join me as we put the media in focus. Joining us tonight are Malcañang beat reporters Cruz of ABS-CBN and Paolo Romero of the Philippine Star. Paolo is also incidentally president of the Malcañang Press Corps. Welcome to Media in Focus.
Hi,
to both of you.
Evening.
Hi. Good evening. They say that President Arroyo was one of the most inaccessible presidents to cover. How true is this in your experience covering her?
My case, I started covering her in 2006. I think I came in at the time when she was already a little bit inaccessible to the media compared to her earlier years in Malcañang. She wasn't. I don't think she was already giving regular press conferences already.
No.
And
then
when you started, Paolo?
Yeah, I started covering her in the Senate. I covered her for about 2 years, and then I covered her on and off as president since 2001, and I covered her full-time again since 2005. Prior to 2005, she was very accessible. She grants interviews, press conference, but after 2005, that's when she became really scarce. And
were there markers in her presidency that you saw differences in the way she treated media?
I think it changed after Garci.
Yeah,
after Hello Garci.
Yeah, after 2005, after she apologized.
Yeah,
that's the time when she became withdrawn, if I may use the word, and maybe developed this what I call a fortress mentality around.
Okay, is it true that she had a love-hate relationship? Was it like a rubber band in terms of liking the press and withdrawing from them and making herself accessible again?
Well, it's something like whenever there are really controversies that's really rocking her administration, it's really something that she would be hard-pressed to confront. This time she withdraws, but maybe again after she gets advice about being she has to be more open. Just the time she opens up.
Yeah, every time there's a scandal, at least from the years that I was covering her, she would be letting her spokespeople do all the talking. They would be the ones defending her. Her allies in Congress were the ones speaking for her, aside from the designated spokespersons. And every now and then, of course, she would address it in a public speech, but she wouldn't go into the details, which I think was what some media, which was what the media was definitely after, which was what the public was after.
Her number of spokespersons seem to have expanded
over the years.
Over the years, no, from one to
and
several.
They changed also. She
quite
had
often.
Batches of spokespeople.
The longest serving was Secretary Buni?
Yes, Secretary, who incidentally was the one.
And after his stint, everybody came in quick succession.
Yes,
right?
in quick succession. And
differences of a year. Just Teresa came in, lasted over a year.
Although,
of course, his successor, Sir Chirmonde, was cut short because
of his untimely death. That's right. That's right. But those spokespersons took more of the cudgels of meeting with media.
Yes,
at that
and
point.
they admit that, and she even appointed Secretary Ermita, her executive secretary, to be the spokesman.
Did she have spokespersons for different kinds of topics?
Yes, and then she even experimented with age because it was once she was advised to get more youthful spokesperson. So we had
Lorelei Fajardo
and Anthony Goles. Now when some of her advisors said they were not credible because they were too young, now they got the more senior ones that you see now.
Of course, you have Ricardo Saludo, you
Yes.
have Gary Olivar.
That's right.
And of course, there were also times that they had spokespersons for different topics. Like, all the political questions would go to Secretary Ermita and his successor, Secretary Mendoza. On occasion, it will be Secretary, at that time, Yusek Goles, and Undersecretary, Lorelei Fajardo, Undersecretary Saludo. Of course, for economic matters, Gary Olivar started out as a spokesperson for economic
affairs.
matters. We also had spokespeople from MEDA.
Yes,
Dennis
yes.
Was
Arroyo.
that confusing for you as members of the press?
Well, not so much, except that sometimes you talk about, for example, Professor Levi. Now he's just spokesman. Before it was economic spokesman. But when the political spokesperson were not available, he took the gadgets for her. And then now he's, they move around and
They speak for every topic.
everything already, yeah.
You know, the president and her allies took exception to media, and they talked about the coverage of the Arroyo administration. Let's listen to what they had to say.
Yes, man ninyo, sometimes they can rewrite everything. To the point that you may not even recognize that you were the author of that. And one way to conceal the irresponsibility of the desk is to give you a byline after having mangled your material.
Certain individual broadcast institutions and personalities have been very much against me. So I hope you will not begrudge me for wishing that the broadcast media will be kinder to me during the rest of my term as president.